Hello, everybody. Welcome back, or for first-timers, welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. I am your host of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. My name is David Bradley, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager with Grant Cardone. Now, what do we do on the Cardone Solutions Podcast? If you are a first-timer, allow me to welcome you, as I just did, and then also let you know what's going on. So what I like to do, what we do, Cardone Training Technologies, 80%, maybe even 85% of what we do here is 100% free. And so I want to make sure that the free stuff we're putting out there is delivering some maximum amounts of value to you. So I'm going to go out into cyberspace. I'm going to find the things that Grant's putting out there. This could be a blog post. This could be an email he sent out. It could be an article he's written. It could be a tweet, something up on the gram, maybe a YouTube video. I'm going to break it down and dissect it, right? But I'm going to take it. I'm going to analyze it. I'm going to put my own little spin on it, give you some action ideas, and so you can take this free content and get measurable results when you apply it into your sales and your business and your life. That is what we do on the Cardone Solutions Podcast. So if it's your first time here, welcome. Thanks for being here. Secondly, do me a favor and subscribe, because I like dishing out good, juicy, solid content, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Also, if you find it helpful, whether you've been listening for one episode or 100, because I think I'm at 100 at this point, do me a favor, and if you're getting value from it, share it. Retweet this sucker. Post it up on the Facebook. Send it over to LinkedIn. Get it out there, right? Share it. If it's helping you, then it's going to help somebody else as well. So make sure it's getting out there. Share it. Lastly, throw me a review or drop me some stars or something. Let me know what I can do to make this podcast good for you. I love doing it, and I'm having a blast doing it. And believe it or not, there's two people that I do the podcast for. Number one is me. Helps me stay certain, helps me reinforce what I believe, and I have fun doing it, right? But I'm doing it for you. And I want to make sure that if I'm just, that it's not all about me, that it's all about you. Service is senior to selling. So how can I be more of service to you in the podcast? Throw me some suggestions, throw me some recommendations, help me help you, okay? Today we're going to be looking at 6 steps to increase your income. But first, a word from our sponsor. I have too much fun doing that. Okay, so hey, the Cardone Solutions Podcast is brought to you by the 10X Business Bootcamp. This is you spending 3 days with Grant Cardone and his team of top producers. Grant and his team will build you a high-powered sales machine that will win you bigger deals in less time with half the work. Now, what happens at the 10X Business Bootcamp? We got 4 more left this year. One's in July, one's in August, one's in September, one is in October. There's 2 seating levels that you can get. There's executive and VIP. We're going to cover marketing, sales, and execution of the 2. Now, when you get an executive seat, you get an all-access pass, 3 days. You get your own seating section. You get workbooks and trainer's manuals, so you can take this stuff back to your business or your company and really put it into practice. Okay, then you also have a networking opportunity that is unbelievable, because you're going to find yourself surrounded by about 500 other fellow 10Xers that are looking to grow and expand their business. The connections that you make at this event will be invaluable to you, your success, your growth, and your business. You are the product of the people you surround yourself with, so you need to be at this event. Now, if you want to upgrade yourself to VIP, that means you get everything I just talked about, and you sit up front, and you get to have lunch with Grant. That's right. You and a very select few get to enjoy lunch every single day with Uncle G. And in that session, there's some Q&A that is different. It's separate. It's exclusive. You want to be a part of that. Now, a VIP ticket is going to run you $10,000, but you can get it right now for only $49.97. And we have a special on the executives. Sign up for the executive ticket. Normally it's $6,500. When we roll it out for like Black Friday or something like that, then we bring it down to about $3,000. But right now, you can get it for $1,497. And if you do it right now, we're also throwing in 12 months free access to Cardone University. That way you can take everything that you learned at the boot camp and repeat it over and over and over again for the next 12 months to make sure it's totally dialed in. Okay, so that's $1,497. And to take advantage of either one of these, I want you to head on over to cardonesolutions.com/bootcamp. That's cardonesolutions.com/bootcamp. Now, on with the show. So today's going to be a little different. We're going to be talking about 6 steps to increase your income. And these 6 steps are just lessons that I have learned from Grant over the years. And they come from various sources of Grant's content and Grant's material. So some of these you'll find on Twitter. Some of these you'll find in emails we're sending out. Some of these you can find in the 10 strategy of the week. Okay. But here's the deal. If so we're going to talk about you today. If you want to make more money, then you need to start thinking bigger, and then you have to start doing even more. Simple, right? Not necessarily easy, but definitely simple. That's a theme in the Cardone Solutions podcast. Simple does not equate to easy, never has, never will, not gonna. But it's very, very important to keep it simple. So you want to make more money, you got to start thinking bigger, and you got to start doing more, period. Okay. And the challenge becomes is that for where a lot of people fall short on this is they either don't know exactly what to do, and consequently, they wind up doing the wrong things, right? Makes sense? So if you're in sales and you want to increase your income, well, what you going to do about it? Because you're going to have to do something. And when I say when you're in sales, that also means business. Business and sales and business. The two are interchangeable. It's very yin-yang like. Okay, so before we get into the hows, let's just cover the why for a second. Like, why should you increase your income? Why would you even want to do that? Because if you're doing okay right now, not a lot of people are, so if you are, good for you. But if you're doing okay right now, then the temptation to hit cruise, that's an incredibly powerful temptation. Maybe you've done that already. Are you cruising right now? Let's just be honest. Raise your hand if you're cruising right now. Do you have a belief that's holding you back from earning more? When you compare yourself to others, which is a huge mistake, are you ahead of your pack? So let me ask you a couple questions just to help dial this in, like why you would want to even make more money. If you had a family member, somebody very close to you, somebody that you love, and they lost everything in a fire, right now, let's say it happened tomorrow night, how would you be able to help and support them? How would it feel to have enough money? Like, let's say they didn't have insurance. Or let's say the insurance company didn't pay it for whatever reason. That's kind of what insurance companies do, right? Let's just be honest. So they get jacked, they got nothing. How would it feel for you to have enough money to buy them a new house without a second thought? Think about that for a second. Imagine it. What if your church lost its roof in a windstorm? Just blew the whole thing off. It's gone. Are you so financially secure right now that you could stroke a check for a new roof and not think twice about it? Not have it affect your overall well-being, your level of wealth, your lifestyle? What if your best friend from high school, what if they suddenly found themselves addicted to meth and homeless? And they're ready for rehab, but they don't have the means, and everybody else has given up on them. Can you be the one that gets them the help they need. Why would you want to increase your income? Why would you want to increase your income? Because none of these reasons to have more money involve greed. So I'll ask you this. Do you need to get your head right about money? Because how you see money and how you see people with money is going to have a huge impact on your ability to collect and create more of it in your life. Never really thought about it that way. If that's what you're thinking, good, welcome. Because once you get that handled, it has to be on to the next thing, which is how are you going to do that? Exactly how are you going to do that? Okay? First thing is you need to know how much more do you need to make? Like, what are you truly capable of? And as I mentioned earlier, a huge mistake is to get stuck in this comparison to others. Unless you can use it as a tool to motivate you and inspire you in a positive direction, meaning recognizing your true potential and going back towards that, I mean, just release the self-doubt, forget about it. Because a lot of times that just kicked in. You start thinking about somebody else who's got a ton of it and you don't. And then you spin out of control into this self-doubt, grinding thing. That is the one that is trying to keep you down, keep you average. But when you flip it, and when you start looking at somebody who's created a ton of success for themselves and their life and their family, and you start recognizing that you are capable of that too, and that is your potential and the pull towards that, then you can brush off the self-doubt and the little voice that just kicked in and start listening to the other inner voice, the one that wants you to be all you can be, the one that wants you to reach out and create what you're capable of for reals. So let's go over the 6 steps. And that little voice management handling thing is going to probably happen every single day. I mean, even Grant will tell you he still struggles with that once in a blue moon. So, step number 1 is to decide. It's to make a decision. You have to decide to increase your income. So what is your desired income target? Maybe start with an annual amount, like how much do you want to make per year? And that should probably come from what kind of life you want to be living. And then just sort of divide that by 12. And let's start there. Know your annual, what's real, divide it by 12, and now we get a good sense as to what we need to make every single month. And you want to remember to factor in things like more education for yourself. You want to factor in things like emergencies, unexpected things, injuries, illness, car wrecks, acts of God, tornadoes, right? Financial freedom, which is what we're talking about, is going to come after financial security, and they are not the same. Financial security to me means you can get all the bills paid, right? And have a little bit left over and like you're good. But financial freedom means that the fit can hit the shan in a big way and you're still totally fine. And if you want to hop on a plane and have dinner in Tuscany for fits and shiggles, you can do that. Doesn't have to be a big production. Like, let's go. Okay, I'm out. Let's do it. Okay. That to me is financial freedom. Definitely not the same as financial security, right? So that's step one. You need to decide to increase your income, set a target. Step two is to expect to increase your income. This is sort of a little mind game you need to play with yourself. You got to believe that you can do it. You have to expect it will happen. This should never, ever, ever, ever be about if. This has to be a when thing. When, W-H-E-N. When will you win, W-I-N. Not if. You got to let go of the doubt. You got to let go of the wonder. You got to let go of the maybes. And you may find yourself needing to do that every single day. And that's perfectly okay. Make a decision and then raise your expectation level of you, of yourself, and then expect it to happen. And you want to be looking for reasons why it is happening. Step three is do the math. Like, what's it going to take? You have a number. You have a monthly income target now. You know what it is. Now what? So Grant's got this great quote. It says, money seems to flow to those who give it the most attention and take the most responsibility for it. So if you or someone on your sales team for that matter is looking to increase their income, then per Grant's advice is do the math, Daddy-O. We've got a worksheet, and I can send it to you, that will help you with taking full responsibility for your income and getting your attention on what matters most to get you there. Shoot an email out to me, david@grantcardone.com. Said, hey, heard the podcast. It's awesome. I freaking love it. Send me the worksheet on increasing income, and I'll send it to you. But here's what you need to do. You need to have that desired income target like I was talking about. Then you need to take your average commission or profit per sale, business owners, and then you need to take the number of sales required to hit your income target. So you got your desired income target, then you take your average commission or profit per sale, and then you want to figure out how many sales you need to make to hit that number. But then you also want to look at your closing ratio so you can understand the ratio you want to do, especially if you're just in sales, is that from a demonstration of your program or your product or your service to the close, what that ratio is, so you know how many demonstrations of said product, service, offering you need to do. And then that will let you know how many demo opportunities you need. And then from there, we can start looking at, well, how many people do I need to get in front of? How many contacts do I need to make? How many appointments do I need to set that actually show up to do the demo? Okay, so the way it's going to work out is how many appointments do you need to set to get X amount of demos that will result in X amount of deals? Simple, 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 simple. Not always easy. Here we go again. Step number 4 is to skill up. And the best way to increase income is to increase your sales, obviously. And to do that, the only way to do that is you need to make a commitment to yourself to improve your sales skills. And as Grant says, all commitments All commitments require time and money. Think about a commitment you've made that involved time and money. I promise you it did. And since time is money, then you want to invest money, not spend it. And your first investment always needs to be in what? Oh, you. That's right. You are the most valuable, most important investment you'll ever make. So earlier when I talked about having a surplus money for things like what? Educating yourself, getting better, surrounding yourself with the right people. And by investing in yourself in a training program like Cardone University, hint, hint, you have the added advantage of learning the what's and the how's from someone else who's been there, done that, and has a few t-shirts for sale. This is Grant's experience. This is Grant's study. This is his knowledge, is his mistakes that you get to learn from, not your own. That's leverage right there, okay? It's a huge time saver and a huge energy saver. And this will allow you to incrementally increase your income. Step number 5 is so important and also highly overlooked. But this is uber important. You ready for step 5? It's audit your surroundings. Your network will be a reflection of your net worth. So it's one thing to have made a decision. It is one thing to have raised your expectation level of yourself, and good for you for doing the math and skilling up. But it's another thing altogether to identify who and what you are surrounding yourself with. Is the information that you're consuming and the people you're investing time with, is it moving you closer to or further away from your target? And if the people around you are not pushing you to be the best version of you, then you might need to change your surroundings. If the content in the world, the news you're watching, the social media you're trolling around on, is it speeding you up or is it slowing you down? And how are you managing, taking care of your meat suit? Are you hydrated? Are you working out with frequency? Are you smoke-free and sober? Is your space clean? So when I look at my own life and I think about who I surround myself with, I just start thinking about all the different people that are around me that are constantly inspiring me to be a better version of me and to continue reaching towards something greater that I know is out there. Does that visual that I'm giving you right now, does that match your reality? And if not, then you need to start shifting some things around. You need to audit your surroundings, if that makes sense. Step number 6 should be go broke. I know we're talking about increasing income and step 6 is go broke. That's weird, right? Yeah, okay. There's a middle class mindset about being comfortable that can take all the wind just right out of your sails. And it can smash any urgency that you had. Have you ever observed this, that when you really need the money, that you find it and it seems to show up right on time? Do you find that when you need it, that you hustle more and you push harder? This is why you will hear, there's this old adage in sales, and this thing sales managers like to do to new guys when they start really killing it, is they encourage them to go out and blow it, to like buy crap, to get that giant screen TV that they've never had. Because they want them to stay broke. It's not necessarily healthy. I'll talk a little bit about the healthy version in a second, but we tend to push harder, we tend to work more, and we operate with more urgency when we're broke. Keeps us hungry. Like if you watch UFC like I do, sometimes the undercard is better than the pay-per-view because you got these young up-and-comers that they're hungry and they are swinging for the fences, and they just risk. They play full out. So what does it mean to go broke in a healthy way? When you earn extra money beyond your needs, you want to get rid of it in a good place. You want to put it somewhere where you can't touch it. Save to invest. Grant talks about this in the Millionaire booklet. You want to save to invest. You want to stack up 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, and then push it into cash flow producing assets. So here's a real simple example from back in the day. So I used to work in restaurants. I got this idea from a buddy of mine. And when I would get home, I would take all the $1 bills I had and I'd put it in a shoebox. And when the shoebox had $500 in it, I'd go buy a certificate of deposit at the bank. And I would wind up with 3 CDs, a 30-day CD, a 60-day CD, and a 90-day CD that had a revolving worth. Each one was worth $5,000. And they would just like turn over. Every 30 days, I'm putting into that one. And then on the 60th day, I'd take the 30 day because they expired at the exact same time. And I would roll that in, over, right? And I kept feeding these things. And when I finally met the girl of my dreams and was ready to get married and get engaged and do all that stuff, I was able to use that money to pay for the wedding ring and fund the honeymoon. Because every month I went broke. So when you fast forward now, right, you can I'm doing something very similar, but just at a higher level. And instead of a shoebox, it's Cardone Capital. But the same concept applies, just larger scale. So what can you come up with where you can save to go broke? Okay, so there's your 6 steps. Okay, let's wrap all this up. Now what? What are we going to do now? We got our 6. Okay. Which one of the 6 has your full attention right now? Where are you going to start? I mean, you have to make a decision. You need to raise your expectation level. You got to do the math. That's the plan, right? Then that is what gets the action started. Okay. Next, improve your skill set, which is ongoing. You're never done with that. Okay. In fact, from here, you should be in a constant state of auditing your surroundings and going broke whenever you can. So, I mean, would it be a bad idea if you did all 6 of these things every single day? Probably not. Okay. I'm going to leave you with 2 Cardoneisms. The first one's a quote. The second one is how I wrap up these shows. The quote from Grant is going to be this: I didn't get rich because I worked for myself. I got rich because I repeated what worked. Right? Okay. So I'm going to leave you with the words of Grant Cardone one last time. Be great, because nothing else pays. Thanks for listening.